Okay, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel and to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Hakodash. Yahweh is the true name of our Heavenly Father. Bahashem means in the name. Yahushai is the true name of the Heavenly Father's only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Rachakodash is the Holy Spirit that speaks through us to rightly divide the word and truth correctly and directly. And we want to give double honors to our elders and our elder apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth and on down. And we're the couple of the brothers of the Great Millstone Camp out of Des Moines, Iowa, coming back at you with another video inspired by the Holy Spirit. And this is a topic that was mentioned on the outside speaking of the apostles. You know, Elder Apostle Tahar, he was mentioning that the so-called Jews that are in our land isn't the Jews, and he said they ain't the people. You know, and so it was something that that me and another brother caught, you know, through the Spirit, and we, you know, decided to get together, put some precepts together just to show that those Jewish people that are in the land of Israel are not the true Jews, you know. So with that being said, Lord's willing, this lesson is edifying, and we're going to start off with Revelation 3 and 9. Revelation 3 and 9.
Mm-hmm. This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 9. It says, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee."
Right, so it says, "Behold, I will make them the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not." Now, this is actually talking about, you know, Jake's, but just apply it to those people that are in our land. You know, because that's what they do. They claim that they're the true Jews, but they are not. All right, they are found to be liars. Okay, and what breaks their lies is through prophecy. Okay, prophecy that will take place of the true Israelites being in that particular land. You know, things that would take place, you know, in that time, and even how they would get into that land. You know, so the scriptures triumphs everything of those people being the real Jews, man. You know, you can hit that Ezekiel.
This is Ezekiel 36 and 5. "Therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea." This Idumea is speaking about Edom, "which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey." And that's what we're seeing taking place right now. The Idumeans, the Edomites, the so-called white man, he's in our land right now, doing whatever he wants to. But this precept right here is showing that they're not supposed to be there. They took that land.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're going into. They're not the true Israelites. They don't descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but they've taken that land.
Mm-hmm.
Can I hit this? To line back on what you're saying? It's Isaiah chapter 1, and I'll start at verse 3. And I'm going to jump down. But I'm going to start at 3. It says, "The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel do it not know, my people do it not consider." So the Lord says these people don't even know who they are. Yet alone, they don't even consider who they are. But these people over there in our land claiming to be us, but the Lord said we wouldn't even know who we are. He said, the scripture said, "In the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves and think upon my holy name." Roughly paraphrased. But I'm going to jump down to verse 7. It says, "Your country is desolate, your cities are burned with fire, your land strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers." So those are strangers, those are imposters in our land, and it's being devoured by them.
I got this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hold on. Oh yeah. No, you go ahead.
This is Zechariah 9 and 6. It says, "And a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines." But I just wanted to grab that. It said a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod. And you go into that word bastard, you go into the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it goes into a foreigner, right? And this is what we're seeing taking place right now. These people aren't meant to be there. Right. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Ashdod being a place within Israel.
I got another one.
Oh, you want to go back to that Isaiah?
No, I was finna- you want me? What you was something there?
Yeah, I want you to keep reading. Really to verse, get to verse 7. But if you want to just jump down to verse 7.
Down to 7.
Oh, you already read verse 7?
Yeah, I'll read it again for you.
Okay, Con. Yeah, read verse 7 again.
This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 7. It says, your country is desolate, your cities are burned with fire, your land strangers devour it in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you already mentioned, but yeah, those people that are in our land, man, they are strangers. You know, it says how they devour it. You know,
In
and
our
they're
presence.
yeah, and
To
they're
this day.
yep, and they are you know, all up in our land, you know, doing different wickedness and abominable acts, man. You know, they have one of the biggest pride parades, you know, in the world, you know, and the scriptures go against that, man. Everything that they do in that land is contrary to what the Bible, you know, speaks on, and how we would conduct ourselves in our land, you know. But
I have another one.
you good, you got it.
This Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. Right. They weren't part of their heritage. The Lord didn't give them. They weren't the ones that was given the law, statutes, commandments. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So those small hats, they never discontinued. They always knew who they were. According to them, they don't fit the description.
Yeah, and if you could you go to that what I had sent you?
Yeah.
Because it's gonna line up with that statement that Jake just made.
You went into ChatGPT.
Yes. Go to let me see. I sent two of the same ones. Yeah, this right here. So just if I may real quick, the water. So just real quick, because I went into the ChatGPT, the AI information app, you know, and I just typed in did Jewish people ever forget who they were as a nation? And this is the answer that it gave. It said, no, the Jewish people as a whole have never fully forgotten who they were as a nation. Though there have been periods of crisis, assimilation, dispersion, where parts of the people lost or were disconnected from their national and religious identity. However, a continuous core of Jewish identity rooted in shared ancestry, religion, language, culture, and memory has always been preserved. So just to add to the brother's statement, you know, when him reading that Jeremiah 17, it shows that they never discontinued from knowledge of who they were, you know. But us as a people, you know, we it's plenty of our people still don't know who they are today. You know, we proclaim that we're the true Israelites according to the Bible, and there's many prophecies to show that, you know, how we discontinue, you know, from who we are, and how in the last days we're going to rise back up to knowing like who we are. You know, we're in that time now of us raising back up, you know, and we're identifying who our enemies are, and showing that the people that's in our land are not the true people. Apostle Tahar, he said they ain't the people.
They never got on slave ships and got tossed to and fro, you know, all across the country. They don't fit that.
Yeah, but
Across the ocean.
yeah, across the
Yeah,
ocean.
that's what I mean.
It says just reading, just real quick. It says deeper context. It says biblical and ancient times. It says in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, it says there are multiple accounts where the Israelites turned away from their power or adopted the customs of surrounding nations. It says this could be seen as a type of forgetting their unique identity, but prophets continuously reminded them of their covenant and identity. Okay, and where do they have, you know, their prophets, you know, telling them that who they are, or how they discontinue from their power, you know, from their God, so on and so forth. Now we have prophets, you know, we have prophets that are set up to tell our people, what is that, Isaiah 51?
Cry loud.
spare not. You know, this is what we're doing. We're telling our people to turn from their transgression and come and to worship Yahweh Bashim al Shah.
Right, the Lord said, give them warning from me. They not giving warning from the Lord.
I said that pretty much.
We tell them, like you mentioned, we telling our people, look, hey, you keep moving like that, there's a judgment for that. The Lord gonna jack you up for that. What they prophets said doing that, if they the people. The Lord say he's gonna have his pastures which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. You know, giving them understanding of these things. Because there's a lot of false doctrine that's out there that's being pushed, that's misleading our people. You know, so the true prophets are out there telling you, no, we the lost tribe of the nation of Israel. We the lost sheep that the scriptures are talking about. They us was never lost. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, something that you was
No, I was looking for something, but I didn't find it.
All right, Khan. Well, I'm gonna just jump to this in the book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 1. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and strangers shall be joined, and strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." Now it says that the Lord is going to put us in our own land. Okay, so when it comes according to those fake Jews, okay, that consider themselves to be Jews, but they are not. Okay, it says how the Lord is going to put us back in that land. Not we're going to get the land through what was it, the British
The Balfour Declaration.
yeah, but the British what was it called?
That's what it was called, the Balfour
Oh,
Declaration.
the Balfour Declaration, but it was through the British territory, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's in the thing. That's what I was trying to.
This is I typed in earlier in ChatGPT who created. Just going into the Balfour Declaration, it says the Balfour Declaration was created by the British government, specifically authored by author James Balfour, who was a British Foreign Secretary at the time. It was issued November 2nd, 1917, in the form of a letter from Balfour to Lord Rothschild, a prominent leader in the British Jewish community. And I'm gonna just jump down to the key points. It says the purpose was to express British support for the establishment of a national home for Jewish people in Palestine, then part of the Ottoman Empire. But that's not how the Lord prophesied that we would get back into the land. We have to get approval from the British, right, for us to get into our land.
Yeah. Right.
That Isaiah 14 says that the Lord is going to bring us into our land.
Mm-hmm. And it also says that just to give the understanding, because it says that the strangers shall be joined with them. Now the stranger is talking about Jake, because when you go into Leviticus 25, just to tie in real quick. It's 35. Leviticus 25 and 35, it says, "And if thy brother be waxing poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee." Okay, and so that's talking about Israelites. And even in the book of Deuteronomy, it says that Jacob and Israel shall dwell alone, roughly paraphrasing, you know. But did anybody else have anything before I go to the next piece?
I got one right here.
Okay.
This is Wisdom of Solomon 5:1. It says, "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors." And this applies to us. And Ezekiel 37, right, when it speaks about us, the being prophesied unto, and that life coming into us through the breath of the Lord, right, through the prophets, right, it speaks about us as standing up an exceeding great army. Right, and this is what we are right now, right? The Lord has raised us up out of that dead estate, us being without understanding, and that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Right, we out of that way of understanding, right? We got the understanding now, and the Lord has strengthened us through the Spirit. Right, not to say that we army to that's going to get carnal, right? It says that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but just grabbing the point where it says the righteous man shall stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. Right, even that doesn't apply to these small hats. But to keep going to get the point, it says, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond that all that they look for. Right. So the way that they got back into the land, they just they did their little Balfour Declaration. Right. They rode their planes in there. There's nothing strange or magnificent about that. Right. But the Lord speaks about the strangeness of our salvation, because this is going to be a great salvation that the Lord is going to do upon his people in these times that we're coming into.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be delivered out of all the lands of our captivity, especially here in the land of the north. And we're going to be delivered out of these bodies, right, to where we're not going to sin anymore.
Yeah, actually, I'll grab that in Jeremiah 16. This is Jeremiah 16 and verse 14. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of the north, and from all the lands whither we have been whither he had driven them. It's like, and it says, I will bring them again into their own land that I gave unto their fathers. You know, so it's of the Yahweh Shema Shah that's going to gather us from these different areas where, you know, we've been scattered to, you know, and it's going to be via through those chariots, man. You know, the so-called UFOs. You know.
Can you reread that Bible, Shah?
The next one, the whole thing.
This is where it speaks about. You start from the top.
Verse 14, it says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
Right, and that's one of the points I wanted to grab, right? Because this salvation, us being brought back into the land, is going to overshadow what took place in the land of Egypt, to the point where we're not even going to be talking about that deliverance. But again, right now, we celebrate the Passover, even they celebrating the Passover, right? We still thinking about what took place in Egypt. But our deliverance into the land, right? The Israelites coming back into our land that deliverance is supposed to overshine what the Lord did in Egypt,
right,
showing that they not the people.
Right, because they didn't get that great deliverance from the land of, you know, the North Country. The North Country is talking about in the land of America, all right, North America.
All the places their captivity.
Yeah.
The Lord didn't do that for them.
Right. So that, I mean, once again, you know, just going back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the lesson, you know, prophecy triumphs all the lies, you know, that's been spread throughout the world, you know, of them being the so-called real Jews, man, you know, but it shows that they're not. I got another one in the book of Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 3. It says, for lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. So this is just another precept showing that the Lord is going to gather us and bring us into our own land, man. Actually, I didn't even finish. It was another verse.
Just some quick points.
Yeah, you got it.
Speak about the end wherein much glory doth abide. Right, when we get taken out of all the lands of our captivity, right? When we get that change, like it speaks about in the book of 1 Corinthians 15, right? That's going to be the end of this world, right? And that's going to be much glory. It's not just going to be something that you have to reach. I didn't know nothing about how those small hats got taken into the land until I came into the truth, showing you how unglorious it was. But what's going to take place in this time is going to be beyond anything that anyone's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord going to show out.
Yeah, but I wanted to finish real quick in this Isaiah 14, and I'll read verse 2. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And that's what's going to take place. If those people were the real Jews, this will be taking place, you know, right now. Okay, they will have captive over the ones that had oppressed them, you know. But we're going to have the rule over our oppressors, are the ones that, because what Revelation says, it says, he that killeth Yeah, he that leadeth in the captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And this is the patience and the faith of the saints. So this is what's going to take place once we get back into our land. It says how we're going to rule over the nations with a rod of iron. It says in the book of Psalms 149, it says that how we're going to wake up upon our beds with a two-edged sword in our hand, or to execute judgments upon the heathen, you know, and I forget how it ends, you know, but that's what's going to take place, you know, in our land, you know, just roughly paraphrasing that Psalms 149. Matter of fact, let me actually just read it because I didn't even finish it, trying to quote it. Psalms 149 in verse 5, it says, let the saints be joyful and glory, let them sing aloud upon their beds, let the high and it tells you who the saints are once you jump back, you know, a chapter. This is Psalms 148 in verse 14. It says he also exalteth the horn of his people. It says the praise of all his saints, even the children of Israel, a people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. But jumping back to Psalms 149, it says, verse 5, it says, let the saints be joyful in glory, let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of Yahweh be in their mouth and the two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord Yahweh Shah. So this is what's going to take place once we get back into our land, you know, because right now we're not in our land. We're still under our oppressors. We're still in the time of the Gentiles, you know.
This shows that they ain't the people. That whole, what you just read, they don't, once again, they don't fit the description. It ain't happening. I got something to check on.
You got it.
This Isaiah chapter 2, and I'll start at 1. It says, the word that Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Israel. Basically Israel, but it says Jerusalem. It says, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the Most High of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and he will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. That's not happening over there in Israel with those small hats. Everybody not coming up to worship.
They're not even keeping the law. It said that the law shall come out of Jerusalem. They're not even keeping it themselves. They, like you had mentioned earlier, they doing all that weird stuff in the land. When the Israelites is not going to be doing none of that in the land.
All right. And even then, because I'm thinking about what I read earlier about in that in Isaiah 1 and 7, it says how that land was desolate. I remember we was going into it like a couple months back, how they barely get a percentage of rain in that land, which shows
1% of rain, 1 inch of rain
every year or something like that.
In certain areas.
Yeah, in certain areas, you know. But it shows that land is how the land is cursed, you know, and it's cursed because we're not in that land. Once we get back into that land, well, everything flourish, you know.
I got something to back that up. This is Ezekiel, back in Ezekiel 36 and verse 8. But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel, for they are at hand to come.
Oh, that's where it's speaking about he's prophesying to the land.
Yeah. So Israel is going to yield. Israel is going to be flourishing and beautiful when we get back into the land. I reread it. It says, "But ye, O mountains of Israel, ye shall shoot forth your branches and yield your fruit to my people of Israel." Like they ain't getting no type of their land is a desert. The land is a desert right now. It's our land, but it's a desert right now. And again, it's because we're not in there.
Yep. That was it on that?
Yeah, that was it.
You were still reading in that Micah?
No, that was Isaiah.
Oh, that was
Say the same
Isaiah.
thing.
Say the same thing. Well, just to keep reading, I'll just continue on because I got Micah right here. That's what I'm holding. But this is Micah 4 and verse 3. It says, "And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up the sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore." And you know, this is a very plain precept that just shows, you know, that they're not the people, because it says that that nation shall not lift up sword against nation, and they shall learn war anymore. If they was the true people, there wouldn't be any war within the earth, you know. But once again, it just shows you that they're not the true people, because when we get into our land, there won't be any more war. It says how they're going to turn their spears into pruning hooks and their swords into plowshares. Those are tools for agriculture, you know. So that shows that we're going to be putting all these other nations to work. Okay, they're going to build our vineyards. They're going to build our houses, our homesteads, you know, so on and so forth. We're going to have the nations do these things, man.
I'm gonna grab this real quick, Baruch Shah, because just adding on to the point where it speaks about how there's supposed to be no war. The Lord made it to where right after they came into the land, they was warring. I forget what the war is called though. I'm trying to think of it. Slovakia.
Slovakia, what you made mention of? You said the war.
There was a war right after they had came into the land. It was the Lord basically making mockery of them, right? Because that showed clearly that they didn't fit the description. But if I can't find it, you can just move on.
Well, I just, as you read it now, I just jump down to verse 10 real quick in this Micah 4. Micah 4 and 10, it says, "Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field." All right, and we can grab Matthew 13 to show what that field is. But it says, "And thou shalt even go to Babylon." All right. And how do we get to Babylon? This is being modern day Babylon. I believe the brother mentioned earlier about Deuteronomy 28 and 68, how we will be brought over here in ships. All right, now in that precept it says Egypt, but this is modern day Egypt, and we can tie that in with Revelation 11. You know how this place is called spiritually Sodom in Egypt. You know where it said the life shall enter into those dead bodies, roughly paraphrasing. You know,
dead bodies shall lie in the street.
Yeah, the dead bodies
in the street of that great city.
Yep.
Lord was crucified.
Right. It says the dead bodies shall lie in the streets of that great city. You know, and this is the great city. All right, this is Babylon. Okay, but it says, "Thou shalt even go to Babylon. There shalt thou be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies." Okay. So this is the place where the Lord is going to redeem us. Okay, this is the place where we're going to be delivered. It says, I just had a precept in mind, but it just escaped me. All right, but even in I'm thinking about Zephaniah, it says how to wait upon the Lord, you know, until He rise up to the praise. Says His determination is to gather the nations, to pour out His indignation. So we're waiting on Yahweh Shemel Shah to come deliver us. Okay, from this place that we're in, man, from the land of the north, you know. But did you find what you was looking for?
I'm gonna read this. This is 1948 Arab-Israeli War. In 1948, Arab-Israeli War, also known as the First Arab-Israeli War, followed the civil war in Mandatory Palestine as the second and final stage of 1948 Palestine War. But yeah, even then, the Balfour Declaration was established in 1948, just showing you that showing you that there was war in that place, right? Showing you that they don't fit the prophecy, right? Isaiah 2, that was it, Micah 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Micah 4. Yep. That was it on that.
It says the Civil War became a war of separate states with the Israeli Declaration of Independence on 14th May 1948. That's really it. But just showing that there's still war that took place in that land after they came into it. Showing again that they not the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? To whom pertaineth the promises, the covenants, the law, so on and so forth, like it speaks about in Romans 9. They're imposters and they bastards, they phonies. But that was it on that.
You got something else, Zakari?
Yeah, I hit this. This is Isaiah chapter 65, verse 25. It says, the wolf and the lamb shall feed together. It says, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, said Yahweh. And that's not taking place right now. So those people over there in that land, they can't be the people, because I'll tell them to do this if they're the people. Because the Lord said this was gonna happen. This was gonna take place when everything is in its rightful order. When the Lord comes to say everything how it's supposed to be.
He said that no more hurt. Right? They warring right now in that land.
Mm-hmm. But just showing that they can't be the people.
Yeah.
You put a wolf and a lamb right now over there in Israel, and wake up tomorrow and see if that lamb still be there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if y'all ain't got nothing else, I was gonna close it.
I don't got no.
No, the point was pretty much made, you know.
So with that being said, Lord's willing, this lesson is edifying. We're gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Want to give double honors to our elders and our elder apostles of Great Millstone, taught us this truth and all down. Peace and blessings to you. I can us after pushing this truth. Until next time, shalom.
Shalom.